So we're gonna get high this morning, and we're gonna talk about God and religion and politics and all that crap. So this is gonna be a long tape. So it's 1:15 now, probably about 40 minutes or so. Get yourselves comfortable, and we're going to go through a few things so we don't have to go over them again. Okay? Now, so item one. Okay, so I'm your king, and how I'm your king is God makes me your king. So I have a fairly strong relationship with God, unlike Carl Sagan and these recent pillars of wit that claim to have the final authority on exactly and precisely how old the world is. They got rocks to prove it, don't you know? And there's no such thing as God. God is unnecessary. It's the latest theorem. And from my point of view, God is Carl Sagan is far more unnecessary to me than God is. And so is Richard Dawkins or Dinkins or whatever his name is. So, but like they've got a point, and the point needs to be explored. Like, how can we know there's God? For sure. I mean, how do you know you have thoughts? They don't show up on an X-ray, and you got no receipt for them. I have another question for you. Where'd they come from? So, but I know I got them. I got a personal relationship with my own thoughts. They produce sensation in my body. They produce a reality in my cognition. They produce an ability to have empathy with others. All right, so I got thoughts, and I think you got thoughts too. You may not realize it, but I think you do. And so the potency of our thoughts has a lot to do with how well one does in life. Can we say this? I'm not successful. I'm not successful in terms of a big bank account, or in terms of a whole bunch of degrees behind my name. But I've been thinking for a while, and I've been concerning myself with the truth and love. When I was 17 or 18 years old, I read a book that began with a paragraph, something close to this. 2,500 years ago, there was a man that set out to become master of all reality. That man's name was Aristotle. There are some who say he succeeded. I thought, wow, like what a thing, master of all reality. So, well, I'm 17, 18 years old, what's my vision going to be like? Well, am I going to be master of auto mechanics? I got lots of those. How about master of millionaires? But no, I got lots of those too. Master philosopher, got lots of those. Great writer, got tons and tons and tons of them. So what can I be the master of if there's not already significant, already existing masters of it? And there was nobody functioning as the master of the art of loving at that time, and still isn't. But I thought, well, what a worthy thing to devote one's life to. If I succeed, fabulous. If I don't, well, at least I've lived a well-lived life. I pursued something that could have had merit, and I wasn't smart enough to find it, but I'll leave some avenues where it doesn't exist for those who follow behind me. I was certain that my current teachers really didn't even want to be teaching, so I wasn't going to learn much from them. And so I knew, I had to find out stuff for sure. I didn't caught into the idea, shut up and believe. You smarter than the Pope, shut your fucking mouth and believe, do what you're told. See, that never worked for me. And it didn't work for me to be seen, not heard either, to tell you the truth, but I was. They lied, they told me that's how it was. Anyway, so the thing is, I got clear that my thoughts counted and mattered to me. And I also got clear that much of people's thoughts didn't matter to them at all. And I wasn't going to really gain much from somebody whose thoughts didn't matter much to them at all. And so I had to find other people whose thoughts mattered to them a lot. And that wasn't easy to do. But, so I went through a lot of investigation in this police work, if you will, because I had to find out what love is, what truth is. If there's a God, if there is a God, who is he? What is he? Why does he want to be God? And if there is a God, and he is all powerful, why is it that all this horseshit going on? I was real clear that there was a lot of really buggered shit happening, but I wasn't old enough to make a difference in it, and I wasn't smart enough to know that what I knew was real. So I had to go find it out. So I did. And so I thought, well, let's check out religions. So I tried different religions, and they all kind of wound up basically saying, well, in the final analysis, we ain't got no proof neither, but this is a real good story and we're sticking to it. And if you want to hang out with us, you got to believe this story. And, so, and some of them had really, really good stories. And I'll tell you, I got real tempted on a few occasions to really, get into some of these, because it's sweetheart, experiential profit. But, it wasn't the final deal, it wasn't a slam dunk. It was still kind of up in the air thing. So I continued to search. I tried philosophers, and at first I didn't know much about, academics, so it didn't occur to me that it'd be a different experience actually reading the philosophers themselves and reading a spokesman or a spokesman in favor or in opposition to the said philosopher. Anyway, so, but later in life I got to actually reading the gentlemen themselves, and I was quite pleased. Really, really pleased with the results. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So, I had to find out, as empirically as I could, if there in fact is a God. I knew I always had a relationship in my life with a being that was me and was also not me. And when I was about 1.5, I called him Jimmy, but 2 years old, I called him Jimmy. But the thing is, I had to put that aside. I wanted empirical proof that God in fact did exist. Forget that he's living inside me to start with, and forgetting a whole bunch of other things and other data, other communications, beginning from 2 years of age forward. So, but I wasn't going to let that prejudice me. You understand? I wanted actually concrete proof. So I set out to find it, and it was real hard to do. You always had to have what's called a leap of faith to believe. And I had plenty of leaps of faith. I did. has never been a stranger to me. You understand this, but you know, I couldn't get what I was looking for, like in Christianity or Buddhism or now, very different thing between studying Buddha's apologists and studying the Buddha himself. Like the Buddha himself really didn't say much. Certainly for the lay population. It's very, very simple. You want liberation? You do this. You do this seriously and long enough, you'll get liberated. You will be liberated. But you gotta make the recipe just the way it reads. Can't be fucking with the recipe and get the results you want. So, as long as you don't fuck with the recipe, this is what you get. And so there was, thankfully, some individuals who didn't fuck with the recipe and managed to live in Burma until, about 50 years ago. Still do, actually. Anyway, 50 years ago, it started coming to the West, and so the Buddhist teaching is really very simple. It's what you do mostly is actively activate yourself. You get active in activities and just get busy. And so this is the antithesis of that. And you need balance in life. Can we say this? Like everything requires balance. So the idea of sitting in stillness kind of appealed to me basically for an academic principle alone. I thought, well, it can't be all that bad an idea, so I thought I'd give it a try. And, it's, the problem with these disciplines, especially the ones that really work, is they're a pain in the ass. A royal fucking pain in the ass to get started, for sure. And even to kind of get moving along a bit, like you got to build your own inertia. Like you got to really have a want. Otherwise, you won't. It'll pass you by. Like this has to be way more than a wish. Understand? To find the truth, to find God, to find reality, there has to be a passion built in the belly of the searcher. Anyway, a passion got built in the belly of this searcher, and so when I came to sit in stillness with the Buddha, I got huge healing, enormous healing. In fact, the healing that was promised in Christianity and in Islam and transcendental meditation and everywhere else. Philosophy, pharmacology. But this was it. Big time. And it was huge effort. Like, it's taken me about 20 years and 1,500 hours of disciplined, strong meditation sitting to really experience the blessings of the Buddha's gift. Most people aren't prepared to invest longer than a TV show in any of it. So, how do we get this to work? Like nirvana, heaven is not something as a consideration after you die. Like, you got lied to by your priests, by your rabbis, by your imams, by your popes and fucking bishops, up the yin-yang. Heaven and paradise have always been present time constructs. It's unavailable. It's just that humanity has been too self-preoccupied to see it. It requires a different level of consciousness than the one you're living in. Like Albert Einstein said, man's problems are not going to be solved at the same level of consciousness that created them. It's very true. It's like so true, you got no idea how true. So, The thing is it's labor. Like, the promised land is here right now, available for everyone. Man, woman, black, green, yellow, brown, fat, skinny, tall, short. The curriculum is the same. I gotta let go of my heavy stuff to get enlightened. It doesn't make sense. So if I want enlightenment, which is optimum health, vitality, and that's optimum mental health, physical health, every other kind of health there is, psychic health, intuitive health, nurturant health, manly health, any, boily health, girly health, every kind of health there is available. Subtle stuff affects stuff. Understand? Just because you don't see stuff doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I promise you this. And not only that, the subtle stuff is powerful, more powerful than the gross stuff. Yeah. You think atomic bombs were powerful? Wait till you personally behold a human being transforming from a bug into an angel. That's something you can't prove, but it's like thoughts. I saw it happen. I've seen it happen. I see it happen all the time. Most of humanity today is living at a level of consciousness below that of a bed bug. This is true. This is generals, presidents, queens, petty kings, the popes, archbishops, paper boys, philosophers, poets, and prostitutes. All basic bug feed right now. I promise you this as well. You start worshiping the truth inside yourself, you will begin to grow new dominions that you never imagined existed. New dominions that you can personally influence. Understand? People who aren't bug food, really aren't bug food. Like, I live in an area in a building that's crawling with bed bugs and cockroaches and all kinds of things. And none of them. I get a cockroach once in a while and a few fruit flies, just because I don't put my garbage out soon enough. But other than that, the bed bugs don't bother us or those working with us, living in these conditions. Beings of light are not bug food. And the king of bed bugs is the most honorable sovereign that I have encountered in the last 62 years of my life. This time around. I've had in my shoe dying to escape. Like 15, 20 minutes there. And just, like in my hat, also dying to escape. They do not bite me. Unless God instructs them differently. Do you understand? So I'm not going to get into this with you right now, but there are subtle domains of influence and perception that are available to you as a human being. But they're unavailable to you when you're worshipping gross stuff like your belligerence, your anger, your guns, domination and control of others, particularly domination and control of those less gifted than yourself. See, there's subtle distinctions in the psychic universe that are enormous in impact and influence. And this has always been the case. And so, as your king, and as a guy who's got an investment in your health and well-being, like, you need to understand, like, God is, you know, like some days I don't like him. You know, like, he's really a stickler about some stuff, and you know, like, he's unreasonable, particularly with me, and you know, so, but I still don't have any proof, empirical proof that he exists. My thoughts. Anyway, I wanted empirical data that supported either the notion that God existed or he didn't. And so, you know, like Richard Dinkins and, you know, the whole atheist theory, you know, is unsatisfying from an academic perspective, because it's predicated on such a loose posit. Like the posit is that the foundation of atheism is, I got rocks here that say the world's over 5,000 years old, and this book here, this guy right here, right there, right in black and white print says world's 5,000 years old. Now, I haven't read that, but I'm sure it is written somewhere. You know, that would be like me saying, well, you know, in 1794, doctors bled people to death from migraine headaches. Ergo, medicine has no foundation for its existence. Exactly the same supporting theorem values, ratios. Understand? And they go off and make a career and sell books based on this slim posit because you're too fucking stupid to take a look at reality, or you're uninterested in your own best interests sufficient to get your ass off the couch and do something with yourself. Live your life as if it makes a difference, because I'm fucking telling you it does. It does to me. See, I win after you do, and I think this stinks. You know, like, you know, I've got some brides I adore, you know, and I can't be with them until I get you fixed. And unfortunately, I'm not licensed to kill any of you. And there's fear that I'm sorely tempted to, you know, breach my my conditions of parole, if you will. But like, I need you healthy, and worshiping your stupidity, worshiping slim-witted, dim-originated reasonings is not going to get you anywhere. Not going to get you healthy. It's not going to get you, you know, vertically, intellectually vertical, emotionally stable, or it's not going to get you rich with anything. It's going to keep you in the poverty of consciousness that you're living in now. And like, so I'm your king, and I've been trying to think of all kinds of smart ways to get this to sink into you, so you get it. You know, I'm not here to steal from you. You know, I'm here to return some of the stuff that's been stolen from you. But, you know, like, I read in scripture, you know, things like Jeremiah, for instance. This is a guy, you know, 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, saying, look, you put your trust in deceitful words You steal, murder, commit adultery, tell lies under oath, offer sacrifices to Baal, and worship gods that you had not known before. You do these things I hate, and then you come and stand in my presence in my own temple and say, we are safe. Jews are famous for that. God loves us. He's not going to fuck us over entirely. He will fuck us over, but he's not going to really, really do us. Alright. Another quote, again from Jeremiah. In Hinnon Valley, they have built an altar called Topheth, so they can sacrifice their sons and daughters in the fire. I did not command them to do this. It did not even enter my mind. Now, you see, if you're unguided, you'll invent shit to do, call it religious practices that would gag a maggot. You understand? Unguided human being is a dangerous, sick, perverting and perversion originating being. Understand? It's like a rhinoceros constantly in heat. Dangerous to have in the neighborhood as a pet. You see? Another case, he says, they also pour out burnt offerings of wine to other gods in order to hurt me. But am I really the one they are hurting? So they're kind of glad that God's sad in this thing. Anyway, no, they are hurting themselves and bringing shame on themselves. When you do this, faithfulness is dead. And that's what he's saying is, faithfulness is dead. No longer even talked about. So this is the day. Everyone must be on guard against their friends, and no one can trust their relatives, for all relatives are as deceitful as Jacob. It's true. Every fucking one of you. And everyone slanders their friends. They all mislead their friends, and no one tells the truth. They have taught their tongues to lie and will not give up their sinning. They do one violent thing after another. One deceitful act follows another. My people have done evil. What else can I do with them? Their tongues are like deadly arrows. They always tell lies. Everyone speaks friendly words to their neighbors, but what they are really setting a trap for them. This is the day. Now, I like this guy Jeremiah. The Lord tells him to go do shit. He tells me to do shit too. Fix this fucking mess. Get it. Tell them if they love their lives. Now, this is pretty strong fucking language. Can we say this? Like this? That's like me. Anyway, tell them if they love their lives, what I say. Tell them if they love their lives, they must not carry any load on the Sabbath. They must not carry anything through the gate of Jerusalem or carry anything out of their houses on the Sabbath. They must not work on the Sabbath. They must observe it as a sacred day as I commanded their ancestors. Their ancestors did not listen to me or pay any attention. Instead, they became stubborn. They would not obey me or learn from me. When you're a king, you learn that it's a very, very good idea to obey Allah quick. Keep the sweet. Listen, the enemy will surround the city and try to kill its people. The siege will be so terrible that people inside the city will eat one another and even their own children. What do you think Georgie Bush and Dick Cheney are doing with the American population? They're feeding on your sons and daughters. So is every other leader in this fucking world. They're expendable. Understand? To them, they're pocket change. Put him in a uniform, strap a gun in his paw, and give him a hand job and tell him to go gut somebody. I'll give him the real pussy then. Okay, so, and like this Jeremiah guy goes on to say, the Lord told me to give this message to the royal house of Judah and the descendants of David. That would be us. Listen to what I, the Lord, am saying. See that justice is done every day. Protect the person who is being cheated from the one who is cheating him. If you don't, the evil you are doing will make my anger burn like a fire that cannot be put out. And you see, like, as king, I get to see everybody who's cheating everybody. And anyway, you know, I think it sucks that I can't hug my women until I get this fucking straightened up, because, you know, it looks to me like there's going to be never a fucking ending goddamn fucking litany of shit and people are going to worship other than Allah. Think of it. You worship your fucking toenails more than Allah. Your fingernail. Your hairdos. You worship losing money at casinos more than Allah. But you're not kings, right? By the time I'm done with you, you're going to be down. I'm telling you. Another cool dude is like Isaiah, you know. He's a little nicer than Jeremiah. But, you know, like, you will leave Babylon with joy. You'll be led out of the city in peace. The mountains and hills will burst into singing, and the trees will shout for joy. God's people will include all nations. My temple will be called the house of prayer for the people of all nations. This doesn't sound too Catholic or Anglican or Baptist to me. Lord told the foreign nations to come like wild animals and devour his people. He says, all leaders who are supposed to warn my people are blind. They know nothing. They are like watchdogs that don't bark. They only lie around and dream. How they love to sleep. Now you see, like, you know, like, I know enough. I don't want to be in this crowd. You understand? I know enough to know I don't want to be in this crowd. They're like greedy dogs that never get enough. These leaders have no understanding. They do as they please and seek their own advantage. Let's get some wine, these drunkards say, and drink all we can hold. Tomorrow will even be better than today. That's kind of like Obama last year going, you know what, we're all so fucking polluted with this fucking currency shit. We don't know which end of the thing. We don't have a clue how much money we owe or how much we're spending, but all we know is eat some more, so let's print some at the Federal Reserve. Have a good Christmas. So worry about it in the new year. I never got worried about it. Never noticed that? It just got kind of put on the back burner. So, I understand, it's not gotten better by itself. Okay, so, but he also goes like, listen, yeah. When you fast, you make yourself suffer. You bow your heads low like a blade of grass and spread out sackcloth and ashes to lie on. Is that what you call fasting? Do you think I will be pleased with that? The kind of fasting I want is this. Remove the chains of oppression and the yoke of injustice. And let the oppressed go free. Share your food with the hungry and open your homes to the homeless poor. Give clothes to those who have nothing to wear and do not refuse to help your own relatives. That's it. You need fucking guidance to do this shit. It escapes your ken. Then my favor will shine on you like the morning sun, and your wounds will be quickly healed. Now this is true. I will always be with you to save you. My presence will protect you on every side. When you pray, I will answer you. When you call to me, I will respond. Now, this is really, really, really true. You know, like I had this experience. Like, I've been in prison a couple times in the last few years, one time for allegedly diddling kids, and another time for breaching probation for diddling kids. And basically, I'm convicted of stealing something from children, threatening death to a woman and a child, and something else. Can't remember what it is. Yeah. So the thing is, I have an acute sense of injustice. I have an acute sense of what justice is, and I have an acute and growing appreciation for the disparity between the two. If you put an end to oppression, to every gesture of contempt, and to every evil word, if you give food to the hungry and satisfy those who are in need, then darkness around you will turn to brightness of noon. So I was in prison for these things, and I'm not guilty of them, any of them. Right? And the thing is God opened the hearts of the men in every institution I was in. That's the truth. Men who I believe were sent in there to give me an extraordinarily hard time. And this is in 2 different institutions over some almost 2 years total. In spite of guards spreading rumors and trying to get us bugger-fucked, it didn't happen. In fact, one individual who, upon first meeting us, authored, you so much as look in my eyes, again, I'll kill you. I'm probably going to see you again. I don't want to ever have anything to do with you. You make me fucking sick. If you see me, hide. Now, I had just gotten over pneumonia, and I had already lost one fight, and I knew I was not in condition to defend myself against this individual. And so I was completely at the mercy of twisted fucking guards and men like this. Well, that man, within 40 days of that incident, was moved onto my range and was writing poetry and coming to us for approval. Okay. I didn't have to threaten anyone in there. And prison is a very violent place. And people are bored to extremes, and so any excuse for entertainment is well received. And they could have had a lot of entertainment with me, but none of the convicts chose to do what was being done to us by their alleged betters. And they're convinced they're betters, too. I mean, they're offenders. Doesn't matter whether you're guilty or innocent, you gotta sign documents claiming you're an offender. I always cross the word out and put accused. Piss them right off. Anyway, the thing is, inside jail, outside jail, when I worship the true, I've been doing that for a while, I mentioned, all comes through. In situations where, he shouldn't. Like, how about this? Head-on collision, 2 cars traveling at 55 miles an hour each. I'm in a Sunfire, a little tiny sports car. I collide with a Buick LeSabre. It's like 110 miles an hour into a brick wall. I'm not wearing a seatbelt. The tow truck guy and driver thinks I'm dead. The cop tells me later. And I got 2 broken elbows. Slight fracture in both of them. Hurt like stink, but still, you know, tough to whip your ass and shit, man, for a couple of weeks. But you know, like, so the thing is, even losing fights, even getting punched out, like, I pushed this hand this far into somebody's mouth, right? And I lost complete. It was like a balloon with air let out. No energy left. I couldn't even protect myself. Couldn't even hold my arms up to defend my face. And so this individual was granted free, unrestricted access. Beat me to death if he wanted to. And he beat me about the head a few times. Did not knock my teeth out, as I had his. And kicked me in the jaw. And basically that was it. But, like, I'm 62 years old. Like, to be able to take a kick in the jaw like that, like, or have my head smashed into the floor, sufficient to have my ears bleeding, and like, that's a lot of punishment. But no damage, like no disfigurement. And I disobeyed a direct order of Allah as well. So, you know, I didn't, that wasn't a possibility that ever entered my head. It never happened to me before. I'd never ever ran out of energy before, especially in those circumstances. So, Allah has complete control over all things in my life. And so, I like to please Him. And He's charged me with fixing this mess. And you know, do I have empirical proof that He exists? Well, but you know, I bet my life on a proposition, and I bet your life on a proposition, and I bet our Queen's lives on a proposition, and our future children's lives on a proposition, and so, and I'm your king, so basically what I say goes. So, you don't have to believe you have a God, but you do need to believe that you have available to you states of consciousness beyond that which you're currently enjoying. Ask yourself this question: what's this fucker get if I buy this shit? Well, I get one less person I gotta worry about. As long as you're willing to give the proposition a fair trial, it'll work. Worship the truth. Please. It's inside of you. So's God.